Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Anarchy podcast. I'm your host, Super, and with me we have Hermeticlock. He was one of the leaders of the Spawn Masons. He has done a lot of things in Anarchy, and we're here to talk about him. So, how are you doing, Herm?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me today.
No problem. I'm sure we're all happy to hear you. So, to get right into the I almost swallowed my own spit. To get right into this, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, you know, generally kind of known for bringing players together in interesting ways, and that's kind of been the forefront and focus of my time on the server. And so, kind of as we get further into this interview, you can kind of see how that, plain statement manifested in different ways. But I've been involved with all sorts of different groups of people on 2B2T, and it's kind of, some of the people that I've met have been, the ones that have shaped the history of the server. And so, we'll probably talk at some point about my transition from being kind of an ordinary player to someone kind of at the front lines of what's kind of hip and happening in 2B2T.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their story, and it's important to tell them.
Sure.
Yeah. So just to start this off, what's your join date? Not just of 2B2T or Anarchy in general, but in Minecraft. Like, when did you start?
Sure, it's hard for me to pin down exactly. Maybe there's a way to find out, but I wasn't using my own accounts for a very long time. I was using siblings' accounts for quite a while. But I want to say that I entered the Minecraft community in 2012 officially.
Did you play? When did you start on 2B or Anarchy in general? That is.
Anarchy. So maybe back up a little bit because before it was an Anarchy, I didn't know that Anarchy servers existed. However, if I had, it would have been the type of thing I would have been attracted to ages ago. Because my playstyle, anyways, was to go on to different types of servers with various hacked clients and stuff, and take over like large like groups of like players, and never get caught by the owners, of course, with any exploits that I would be doing. And so a place where you couldn't get banned like 2b2t was very intriguing to me. So in 2016, when Rusher did his videos and stuff, I wasn't able to get into the server because of the queue, and so I kind of started my own server for a little bit. That was kind of, you know, an Anarchy server as well.
What was that server called?
Sure, that server's called Anarchy Heroes, and maybe some people are familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm sure a few of them. So what's the deal with it? What's your history with owning the server?
Sure, so I started Anarchy Heroes maybe in October of 2016, maybe before. No, it was probably like June, like June 20th or something of 2016. And, for the most part, it was just going to be a vanilla thing. But then I added TPAs. We had like a really nice community early on. And every now and then, I kind of TP people in Viz, and nobody knew that I was the owner at the time. And I just like kind of leave things for people to discover different types of, things that could be exploited later on because I wanted to have built-in history at least later. Um, these kind of exploits weren't necessarily meant for people to find right now, but they were eventually found, and things kind of became a bit of a, I don't know, chaotic mess. Eventually, I ended up selling the server to another player on there named Chongfire, and now I don't have a whole lot to do with the whole Anarchy Hero scene. I sold it about 6 or 7 months after I started it.
Do you miss it? Like, do you miss Anarchy Heroes?
I like a lot of the players that were there. People like Epicness, Lion Will. Uh, these are all really like great players, right? Bongo Spider, and countless others. But that's pretty much it. It'd be nice to see some people again.
Yeah, I've heard Don Fior is actually on that server, isn't it?
That's correct. Deloaded and I, when we first started out, much of my kind of like abuse came from just handing out different things to Deloaded. We actually world edited in the ninth Dawn Fuhrer into that server.
Do you think that the abuse of maybe staff such as yourself on that server, do you think it's propelled Don's success?
I think it's propelled the success of the server itself. Nobody wants to be on a, there's no longer any admin abuse, and that's why it works. If there is still admin abuse, it wouldn't be good. But because if there was admin abuse in the past, you know, you've got all these random items that you can get because people have duped things, and so there's speed sticks. There's Donfurian hitting rods with like sharpness 32,000,
Yeah.
all sorts of kind of fun things and gems, and not all of them have been discovered yet.
Yeah, IP will be in the description, everyone. But what's your history with Don Fior? Because I know you're quite big friends with Deloaded, as I've been notified of. What's been the history with you and them?
Sure. So I joined Dawn Fear in maybe 2010 or two. No, sorry. Let's back up. In like 2014, right? I joined Dawn Fear in about 2014. We were on another server, and that's when we started the like official, ninth Dawn Fear, and that was a big and fun thing. And so Deloaded and I were both very attracted to Anarchy. We moved over to both Anarchy Heroes, and then eventually we moved over to 2B2T. He kind of kept his thing going, and eventually, we kind of went separate ways a little bit. I try to keep in touch with him, as much as I can because I really enjoy his building style, and it's really fun to be a part of a Deloaded base. And so, if you have a chance to join, Don Fear and work with Deloaded, you should definitely consider doing that.
Yeah, they're quite a big superpower on Anarchy Heroes. So as I've said, the IP's in the description, so you guys can go and check that out. But staying on the same topic of teams, but going on to different servers, how do you feel about them on 2B?
I think that teams are kind of an essential part of the social atmosphere and climate on 2B2T. You can't really, I think that Discord is kind of a big part of how newer kind of groups have been able to come together. And it's certainly the way to kind of become involved into the community is by joining Discord, being invited to different servers, interacting with different groups of players, and so it's kind of a good medium for interaction on the server.
Yeah, it's always social media propels or helps communities in some way or another. But keeping on teams, what's your history with Voco, the 2B group?
Sure, Voco. I joined Voco 2 months after I came on to the server. I did my own thing for 2 months, and it was fun. But then I got griefed by Car 731 or something after we tried trading items in the 1111 dupe. Now he did actually leave the items that I requested, and but he did grief the rest of my base. But he kept true to his word on the items, and so then I joined Voco. I moved up pretty quickly because I was like, hey, I'll build you guys a website. Coltsnid said, sure. Coltsnid's the founder of the Vortex Coalition, for those of you who are listening. And, moved up through the ranks there pretty quickly. I have a couple videos even on my channel still, the old like Voco days in 2016. But it was a fun kind of group. Kind of really taught me, how you can organize groups of people together on TB2T, and that's been beneficial ever since.
Yeah, it's always good to have that sort of experience in the field, not just of teams, but in Anarchy in general. But speaking of Anarchy, obviously all of this is speaking of Anarchy. Did I already ask, when did you join 2B?
Sure, I joined 2B2T officially, and this may surprise some people. I joined 2B2T in, oh man, it was like August of 2016, I think. No, it was October of 2016. What was my official join date? And many people just don't know about that because they
Really?
assume that I've been around. Yeah, most people think that I've been around since like 2013, 2011. I'm one of the old players just because of the accolades that I've collected, I guess.
Now, I know you're not in much of the politics or even play much of Anarchy Heroes anymore, but do you play any other Anarchy servers?
No,
Why?
because I get everything I need out of 2v2t.
Really? Isn't there, some stuff that are unique to certain servers?
Um, Not no, not particularly. And I think that 2v2t has, the most value to give out of a player experience.
What, is it maybe because of its old age or history?
That's exactly it, because of the old age and history of the server, the fact that the map's never reset, and also the population there is the largest. And, I've kind of managed too many different things on the server to leave really officially.
Really? Like what?
You know, different groups like Spawn Masons, the Guild, my Spawn activities in the Hermland Discord. I got projects like 2b2t online, bringing back Bible bots right now, um, and all sorts of different random things. I'm still an executive in the Vortex Coalition. Um, I've got my whole Spawn base thing, all these different kind of pieces that come together. Um, and it's what makes 2v2t a fun experience for me to be on.
And speaking of all those groups and things like the Spawn Masons, in your opinion, because I know you're quite a valuable, very valuable member of them, what's your experience with them, and what's your whole opinion, or not necessarily opinion, but what's your story on them?
Sure. So I founded the Spawn Masons in February of 2017. And I'd kind of come out of, Tim's group with the Reich, and that was an interesting experience to say the least. But we kind of decided that we were going to, well, I was at least trying to combine different groups of players into one kind of super faction that would be like kind of exclusive, but also like, really into like building up relationships together on the server. And so we started off with just a couple players. I initiated Jumbo Warrior. He initiated me. The biggest thing about the Spawn Masons in particular was that compared to other groups, where you join a Discord and you become a member, and then what happens? Nothing. We would actually celebrate bringing in new members, right? And it would be like a big deal. And everybody would show up. We'd build like a nice place for the initiates to see. They go through some sort of entering ceremony, and then there you go. You're a Spawn Mason. You're a brother. You can go and do. You're on equal access with everybody else that's been a Spawn Mason before and after you come in, and it's kind of an interesting group in that regard. And we are able to get a lot of things done.
So it's like communism. Everyone's equal.
Everybody's equal in Spawn Masons.
Yes, yes, yes. Daddy Marx, once said, all working men of the world unite. Communist Manifesto, last page.
Right,
Anyway,
but we don't. I want to consider ourselves like the proletariats of 2b2t. But
um, now with the members of the Spawn Masons, isn't, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Fit admitted to the Spawn Masons?
yeah, Fit was a member for a good long time, and he was actually really, actively contributing member. But it definitely was an interesting transition for me to go from someone that was kind of keeping up to date with watching the videos of the Russia war to, having people like Bubba J, Fit MC, uh, all these people that, Jack the Ripper, all these people that I've kind of, watched on like my YouTube, like suddenly being in a group that I created is kind of a surreal experience, at least for a little bit before I kind of got used to that. But yes, Fit was a great part in addition to the Spawn Masons. We had a little bit of drama once he griefed Summermelon, and so that kind of spawned like the end of like an era one for the Masons at least.
Yeah, I only bring up Fitz since there's a lot of things going on with him recently as he's been hacked and he's really hated. So I wanted to get your your not opinion but your word on because how he was so hated now for all the stuff that he was doing to bases and people. Would he be kicked out of the Spawn Masons in any way?
Would he be kicked out? Well, he's not. He right now he's just a guest. Technically he was initiated, but we decided that we don't harm other players' bases that are part of our group, and so I'm sure if he wanted to join, we could do a vote, but I don't know if he'd get in right now. Personally, I don't have any vendettas to fit, but he kind of does what he wants to do. I
He
mean,
does what he wants.
yeah, and that's fine, right?
Yeah. So with you saying, just a little bit earlier with that, you were going from, this player that was keeping up with the news with the FedMC war against Russia, and now you're top of the food chain. How does that feel? Like, from the bottom of the fish tank to the top of the ocean.
Oh, it just there's a moment of feeling I've arrived. I'm now part of the scene that's making the cool history on 2B2T, and everything that we did just felt like it was important. And I think that that's the biggest thing is that when you kind of arrive into that kind of world, everything that you do on the server feels like you're contributing to the culture and the history of the server. And so it's interesting. And the Spawn Masons are kind of an instrumental part of that, I think. So many different great players like Sato and everybody coming together with like a united cause, and it's just been great.
Yeah, nothing beats hate but hope, and yeah. So you've talked about your time with 2B, but do you feel like it's been kind to you in that when worst comes to worst, things have to be happening and changes happen and people go off and do their own thing. But do you think your life on 2B has been grateful to yourself, or do you think it's been less than satisfactory?
Oh, it's definitely been satisfactory. You've got a great community of people that I can talk to about pretty much anything, and we do talk to each other about all sorts of things from like politics to you know just what's going on generally in our lives, and it's kind of a nice community to have. Absolutely.
Yeah, nothing better than Minecraft politics. Yeah, but with 2B, but that's not all, all fun and games. Sometimes there's difficult decisions to make. So how do you deal with those difficult times on 2B?
Sure, those and it happens a lot, and I'm sure that sometimes in the past I haven't dealt with some of these things the best way possible, but I like to think that at least now I've kind of got a grip on how to manage these interpersonal conflicts that kind of appear, um, and really at least the players that I interact with and seriously become involved with, we're all pretty mature and we're able to of course like solve our own conflicts ourselves, be it through DMs or through other kind of chats or means. But yeah, it's kind of about solving problems one on one more than addressing things as a huge like group.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. So I'm not gonna end this off here, but is there anything you wanna add before I ask the final things?
Yeah, sure. The thing that I'm most proud of, I dug to the world border with everybody, and that was a really cool and fun time. I officially mined, 15 blocks of the X Highway back in the day, and that was fun. But really, what I want to kind of relate is that, when you join the server for the first time, it really doesn't matter what your join date is. You can kind of accomplish great things. And the start of that is just by creating great things and being that person that people want to hang out with because they're doing interesting things. Right, I didn't get to where I was by just kind of being a passive participant. You kind of have to create your own fun on the server, and when people see that you're doing that, you will attract more people to your cause.
Oh yeah, and with causes like that, I was going to ask about the border mine. How does that feel to you, like to be part of something so much bigger than yourself?
It was there's a lot of cool energy definitely with the whole border mine. At least the first one, it just felt like we were like pioneers doing something that's never been done in the history of Minecraft, right? So totally cool.
Yeah, there's got to be a certain sort of pride. I'd say. Well, I mean, I haven't done it, but it's got to be an incredible feeling to do something that's so, you know, bigger than and so much more ambitious than anything ever done. Anyway,
Yeah.
is that it? Is any questions for the community, or we'll take a couple seconds just for the community to ask me a couple questions in the Discord that we're in right now. Actually, no, I know Kabata will ask this. What's your favorite cheese?
Oh, I have a lot of different types of cheeses. I love going out and getting like cheese plates, charcuterie kind of stuff. Um, yeah, if we're going like sandwiches, I like Havarti, but I also like a nice spread, like a goat cheese, Cambodia, or even a brie.
Yeah, gotta get all the fun cheeses. Nice dairy. So the creator 111 asks, "What's your favorite food?"
Wow, these are very insightful questions. Everyone, good job. Um, it's like I like pizza. I like a Parmesan crusted chicken.
No, no Hawaiian for this guy. Yeah, no. Uh, Sorry. Somebody asks. Bongo Spider. No, not Bongo Spider. I'm sorry. Nimitz asks, "What do you think of Pop Pop?"
There's a video of me killing him in game, like in PvP. So that's fun. But Pop Bob is Pop Bob, and a lot of people don't realize that he's like a normal person. People kind of villainify him to the point where he's like this unreachable character. But he's like a normal person. I haven't had too many interactions with him.
Yeah, I mean, with Fit's video about Pop Pop, you kind of made him out to be sort of a villain. Let's face it. Anyway, another question from John 200410 says, "What's your weight?"
Mine? I think he was asking about Pop Bobs, but I mean, I'm going to, with the advice of my counsel, I'm going to have to take my Fifth Amendment right to decline to answer that question.
I know my rights. Bongo Spider asked a question that I think was just already asked in the beginning of this episode. Why did you create the Anarchy Hero server?
Oh, because 2 had a 2,000 queue, and I didn't want to wait 10 hours because priority queue wasn't a thing yet.
Last few questions from Fat Earther says, "What's your favorite candy?"
Oh, I like those Rochers things. They're like nuts with like
Ferrero Rocher
Nutella
with like
on the
the
inside. Yeah, yeah,
oh my god, they're so good.
yeah. Yeah, I have the privilege of being able to go to like Ghirardelli Square too, on occasion, and like get like some like authentic, nice Ghirardelli kind of stuff. That's really nice.
Vogue actually asked a decent question that I can't believe I didn't think of. How do you feel the way 2B is run? Do you think it's well run? It's a well oiled machine, or do you feel like there's a lot room for improvement?
It's pretty bad, but you can't ask for a whole lot more from Housemaster, I guess. The big thing is like he may not be the most active admin, but at least he doesn't interfere with anything anymore. Every now and then, we would see him come in with like invis, like slash vanish. Uh, Not necessarily you couldn't like see like the name, but you knew that there was someone that was in slash vanish, and he'd come to all these like spawn mason things just because I think he was really weirded out at the beginning that there were like 40 players all together in dragon masks, and he probably recognized many of the names. So we used to talk about that all the time. We used to joke that Housemaster was an honorary mason.
Nice. And I think one of the last questions is coming from who was it? Yeah, Element 83. Sickermouth or Maubamba?
Pardon me?
You want to play Sickermouth or Maubamba?
I don't understand the question.
Do you prefer the rap song Sicko Mode or Maubamba? You know what? Never mind. Okay. Okay, so the last and final question. I'm sorry, everyone, but last and final question coming from Windows XP was, why did you first disband the Spawn Masons in the summer of 2017?
No, sure. That's a big question. Coming back to, Fit griefing Summer Melon with Alpha Computer, that kind of created a kind of large rift in between the group based on the definition of what's a, Spawn Mason base. Is that a base where, there's one Spawn Mason at, or does it need to be majority Spawn Mason? And at the time, that was like something that wasn't necessarily stated. And, one of our builders there, Crowbar, and of course, Toshi was a Mason there as well. They were pretty mad at Fit and Alpha Computer, understandably, for, griefing their base. And so this created this big divide. For me, it came to be too much, and I just had to take a break. I didn't think that, the other members at the time really wanted to step up, and it was like a full-time, affair for me. And I just was like, I'm going to take some time, improve my life, and everything is kind of back together. Spawn Masons are more or less fully revived. We've got leaders of different groups inside us, and all sorts of players from before, and things are kind of kicking and moving, and I'm a big fan of what we've started.
Yeah, everyone works towards something, and honestly, it seems like you've really made your mark on 2B, and I'm very happy to have you on the podcast, and I'm sure everyone else is. So with that, I'll just say final things I'll let you say your final things, and then we can end this off.
Sure. Final thing again is, whatever your join date is, you can actually come and become a contributing member of 2B2T. And, don't feel like that's impossible or that, the older players are going to bring you down. No, older players will be totally receptive of you as long as you adapt to kind of the culture of the server and you're doing things that they genuinely think are interesting and cool.
Well, thank you very much, Hermeticlock. Super, thank you so much for being on the Anarchy podcast, as do everyone else who's watching. We thank you for watching the Anarchy podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification, or hit the bell icon for notification each time we upload. And thanks for watching. I've been Super, your host. With me, we've had Hermeticlock, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Fuck my friends, they're gone. They all left one by one. And now the summer's done. They don't need no more fun.